I just got back from Brutal Assault, 5 days of non-stop metal, 150 bands, epic mosh pits and an atmosphere unlike any other. But who were the best, the worst and the biggest surprises of Brutal Assault 2025? Let's find out. Brutal Assault takes place every summer in an old military fortress in the Czech Republic. It draws over 18,000 metal fans from all over the world to one of the most intense extreme metal festivals out there. Over those 5 days I saw 53 bands live. I got sunburned and I gained 3 kilograms from a brief but very intense love affair with a burger truck. And today I'm breaking down the best performances, the worst performances and the surprise bands that blew me away. And as a bonus, I'm throwing in at the end the 3 best crowds at Brutal Assault, the best mosh pit, crowd surfing and all that jazz. And keep your eyes open because you might see yourself or your friends in this video. There is plenty of that in here. But let's start with this year's best performances. Originally I picked just 7 bands for the best performance, but I felt I had to throw in one honorable mention. That band is Asphyx. They really brought a lot of energy and I really enjoyed their songs as well. Which made sense when my friend reminded me that they've actually been around since 1987. So they're really close to that old school thrash metal raw energy and attack. Fantastic set from Asphyx. The 7th spot goes to Dimmu Borgir. That was a really grand show somehow. The show and the lights, all that stuff, but also the crowd was very switched on. And the sound was amazing, actually one of the best sounds at the festival. I only caught the final part of their set though, and I really regret that I didn't see the whole thing now, but that just means that I have to go and see Dimmu Borgir again very soon. Now the 6th spot goes to a band called 3 Inches of Blood, or 7.62 centimeters if they were European. This band came out of nowhere for me. I'd never heard them or about them. It's this old school fast melodic heavy metal with killer energy and screaming vocals that remind me of prime time Udo Discnatter from Accept. The 5th spot goes to Carnivore A.D. I have to admit I knew absolutely nothing about them, but they brought a genuine main stage energy on a warm-up night. And I'm a little bit embarrassed that I didn't know this band because I knew Typo Negative and I consider myself a thrash metal fan, so I don't really have any excuses. Carnivore A.D. were on absolute fire and the crowd fucking loved it. And even though that I walked in clueless, I could see around me that most of the people knew every line of the lyrics. Now it's getting a little bit tricky because the first 4 bands were all really amazing, so it's hard to choose. The 4th spot goes to Kataklysm. They're just on a different level when it comes to getting a crowd response. And it's insane that they could create this wall of sound with just one guitar. When I watch Kataklysm perform and how crazy the crowd goes, it's clear that this band has found something in the songwriting that just turns on that switch. And the band, they feed off that energy and they love being on that stage. Now the 3rd spot goes to Gojira. I mean, that was to be expected, one of the biggest names of the festival, and they rarely deliver a bad show. I mean, I didn't get the songs that I actually wanted to see, but that has rarely been the case with them over the last 5 to 7 years. But everything else was on point. The sound was crushing, the visuals were really cool, and the atmosphere was somehow hypnotizing. It's wild to think about how far this band has come from being some sort of an underground band to becoming one of the biggest bands on the festival circuit. It's super impressive that with that growth they have somehow managed to scale up their production without losing the raw aggression in their sound. So despite the big stage and the big show, Gojira still hits like they did back in the club days. Now the band on the 2nd spot I've never really been big on, but now Mastodon have a new fan. The set was great, the sound was massive and the performance was somehow so joyful and filled with positive energy. I know it might be metal blasphemy to say this, but it reminded me a little bit of some of the early Foo Fighters shows that I've seen. It's that same mix of musicianship, sincerity and pure fun. With Mastodon, every song landed and the crowd loved it. And by the time they closed it with a cover of Black Sabbath Supernaut, I really felt it was the perfect ending to a perfect set. When I looked at the lineup of this festival, I never thought that Hellripper would be the band that I thought would be the best. It's not that I don't like the band, I absolutely love them. I've seen them before, but this stuff was next level. The energy, the crowd control, it was just unreal. And shout out to the security guys to keeping up with all that chaos. And we all know it, guys, some festival slots are tougher than the others, and Hellripper got one of the worst. 1:50 in the morning on the 4th day of the festival if you count the warm-up. But that didn't slow down James McBain and his crew for a second. Because before they even played a note, James had ordered the crowd to start crowd surfing, and the crowd obeyed. And they basically kept that momentum to the very end with non-stop mosh pitting, walls of death and crowd surfers flying over the barricade. And the icing on the cake was when James himself served the crowd with his guitar in hand before cracking a beer open on his head. That was fucking decadence. If you don't know Hellripper, you really need to get to know them, because their music is this furious blackened speed metal that doesn't allow you to catch your breath. I'm very curious to hear which were the best performances that you saw at this year's festival. Drop a comment below. But the thing is also that festivals like Brutal Assault, they offer the perfect opportunity to see bands that you otherwise would never have seen. And here are 5 surprising bands that I discovered at the festival, plus 1 honorable mention. The honorable mention is Hentai Corporation. This is such a bizarre but a brilliant mix-up of progressive rock and straight-out rock and roll and metal and stuff like that. And I love it when bands take risks like this. It's wild, unpredictable, but somehow it all clicks. And now on to the 5 surprises, and they're not in any particular order because they just all somehow surprised me. First up is Blood Red Throne, a death metal band from Norway. They have this solid, high energy, tight and aggressive, crushing death metal somehow. And they drew the short straw and they got one of the graveyard shift. I mean, on day 1 of the festival, I think they played like the 2nd performance or something, but they really drew a crowd despite all that. So I'm definitely gonna check out Blood Red Throne more because their set hit from start to finish. Now, Obscure Swings was also a big surprise to me. I had never heard about them before, but they completely pulled me in. They got this kind of post-metal sludge sound. It's drowning almost in atmosphere and heavy with drama, you know, has this crushing riffs, but also this phenomenal vocals from that singer. So their performance was somewhere between powerful and melancholic somehow. The riffs are very captivating and they hit all the right spots somehow. So I'll definitely be digging into this band. Mantar is a sludge metal duo from Germany. I had actually seen them before and I wasn't really impressed because they had a really bad sound. But this time something just clicked. It felt cool, unique and very stripped down. And big bonus points to the singer because he has a really cool AC/DC tattoo on him. Another surprise for me was Between the Buried and Me, which are a progressive metalcore band from the US. They played 2 times, one set that was a full album, and a friend of mine saw that and he said, you have to see this. So I went to see them on the 2nd round and they absolutely delivered. And the interesting thing about them is how their music shifts so effortlessly from some extremely progressive death metal to something funky, almost like big band's vibes. And I was thinking even at times Genesis. So they definitely take you on a wild musical ride where you sort of wake up thinking, how the hell did we go from this metal riff to this funky stuff in just 30 seconds? Tutor is a black metal band out of Norway. They've been around for ages, but I had never heard about them. So they came completely out of the blue. After not really feeling Mayhem earlier that night, this Norwegian trio delivered pure, raw black metal magic. One cool thing about this band also is that both the bassist and the guitarist handle some vocals, and that adds some sort of a variety to their sound. So I'm very thrilled that I discovered Tutor at this festival, and if you don't know this band, fix that. But at a festival with 150 bands, it's impossible that every band lives up to your expectations. So let's dive into the 5 worst performances that I saw at this year's festival. Now, I just want to make one thing clear. I don't hate these bands. There are actually bands on here that I really love. I'm just judging this one performance at this one particular festival. So some of these bands I might actually go and see again later, but at this festival, it just somehow didn't work out. And I will actually rank those in order from the worst to the least worst. The 5th worst was Macabre. They are a murder metal band from the US and they played on the warm-up night. I really get what they're doing. It's a fully kind of committed concept with comic horror, murder themes, quirky vocals and a lot of storytelling. And I respect that legacy and I know that they have a very dedicated fan base, but it just didn't click for me. Now, putting Paradise Lost in the 4th spot is really hard for me because I absolutely love this band, but my expectations were sky high. I thought they would be one of the best bands at the festivals. They had great songs as always, but I've seen them so much better and I know I will see them better again. This just wasn't their night. They seemed to struggle with the sound, the vocals were almost not audible, and one of the guitar fills missing in the beginning, so it never really felt like it took off. but I already bought tickets to see them this winter, where they have a chance to make up for it. Now with Unleashed, I'm not sure what it was, but their sound felt off. It felt like overcompressed and flat somehow. Then at one point the guitarist was doing a solo and you couldn't really hear it. This was my first time seeing them live, so maybe it's just their style and mix, I don't know. But it just didn't really click for me, which is a pity because this is a band with a lot of good songs. Now the second worst performance was Mayhem. I've seen this band 3 times and somehow they never quite live up to my expectations. I do get their legendary status and the huge role that they have played in shaping black metal, but honestly, I just get bored when I watch them live. I know that a lot of people would disagree with me and that's fine, but I have to be honest with myself. And the first spot goes to Ministry, a band that I had very high expectations of, considering their legendary status, but it's somehow just all blended into one really long song. Same beat, same sounds, feeling very sterile. And I'm not even sure how much of the vocals were actually live, because it didn't really feel authentic somehow. I'm glad that I saw them, but honestly, it didn't do anything for me. Let's get back to the crowds, and I'm gonna rank those in order. And the third best one was Hellripper. This was some crazy shit. And as I told you before, people even started crowd surfing before they played one fucking note. I did some rounds in the circle pit. I was in the Wall of Death. I was helping people crowd surfing. I almost crowd surfed myself, but I had my backpack so I couldn't. But it was pure madness from start to finish. Now the second spot goes to Kataklysm. Like I said before, these guys have somehow found a way to either build into their songs or sound or whatever, something that just makes every crowd go fucking mad. And it did. I'm pretty sure that if Kataklysm would show up to a funeral, they could get the crowd to surf. If you were at Brutal Assault this year, you probably have guessed the winner by now. Gutalax shows are just on a different level. Their whole toilet theme opens up a totally new dimension, with toilet paper coming in from all directions, inflated portable toilet doors, toilet brushes, and even toilet seats. And the icing on this beautiful toilet cake was when an actual portable toilet was brought on and served over the crowd with a guy on top. I'm pretty sure that this is the first time in history that a man crowd surfed a massive crowd on top of a portable toilet. And if that ever happened before, then I'm sure it was at a Gutalax show. But I'm curious to hear what were your wildest crowd moments. Tell me in the comments below. And check out my playlist, Brutal Assault 2025. In that playlist are my daily summaries. I did these live streams every morning, summarizing the day before. I'd be very happy if you'd like this video and subscribe to my channel so you get more stuff like this. And all of you guys that came to me at the festival, my subscribers, I love meeting you guys in person. I was so grateful for every single one of you. So shout out to you guys and I'll see you next year at Brutal Assault. And then guys, the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, and me, we agree that this might be a video that is interesting for you, so check that out.